Here are 6 essential questions that you need to ask during commercial cleaning walkthroughs. If you're not asking the right questions during your commercial cleaning walkthrough and covering the right topics, you may not come across as a professional, which could be a reason that you don't win as many commercial cleaning clients. Or if you don't ask the right questions, then you're gonna end up lacking information that you need to make an accurate quote calculation to win them. So by the end of this video, you're gonna have some questions and a process that you can implement on your next commercial cleaning walkthrough to help you win more contracts. Hey, my name is Matt. I'm your 7-figure commercial cleaning CEO, and I'm here to help you build an incredible commercial cleaning company. Let's dive in. So during a site visit, which we call a commercial cleaning walkthrough, you're gonna have several different parts to that visit, and the part we're gonna focus on is here right at the beginning when we go to their office to have a little bit of question and answers time. That way, when we tour their facility, it's gonna be more effective. Now, these topics and questions are not going to come in any particular order, but I do have them generally laid out how I like to proceed through them on my commercial cleaning walkthroughs. So this first topic is a major one, and this is the pain points. One of my most favorite questions to ask for this one is, what triggered you to reach out to us today? After you've built rapport with them and you ask them a question like this, it's a great transitional statement that's going to help build context for the meeting and set the stage for what you can expect moving forward. And it's going to get them to start unpacking all the things that are going to help you win their business. Another way that I like to ask this question is, what's not working for you right now? The objective of these 2 questions is to start getting them focused in on that pain. Why are we here? And you can realize pretty quickly how you're going to be able to bid at this point. Because if they're in a lot of pain and it's really urgent, then pricing is not going to be as big of a deal. If they're just saying, oh, we're shopping around, we've got to get 20 different bidders, then you can know how you're going to have to approach the rest of the process. But here's what's neat is oftentimes, even if they initially weren't in as much pain and you start unpacking it a little bit by starting off with these 2 questions. And by the way, I encourage you, continue to unpack it. Don't just ask those questions and then move on to the rest of these that are on this list. Follow through with them and have them go a little bit more in detail on their answers. And so what that'll do, even if they're not feeling a lot of pain initially, they're going to, because now they're going to spell it out and they're going to display it for you. Now that you have them feeling some pain and they're also feeling understood and heard, this next question is very intentional. Whether you get to the pain conversation at a different part in this process, I do encourage you to have it at the very beginning. This next question should ideally be asked directly after the pain conversation. And the theme of this question, whether you decide to rephrase it a little bit or not, is around the decision timeline. Now, the way most commercial cleaning business owners approach this topic is they tend to ask, what is your decision timeline? They tend to go straight into it. And that is moderately effective. It's informative for you, but it doesn't really help you close the deal. It doesn't move you closer in the mind of your client towards actually being able to solve their problem. So instead, what I like to ask is this: how soon do you want this problem fixed? Now, when you ask that question, it's going to set a pace of urgency for their decision. You can ask further details if you want about the decision timeline, but now you've got their emotions and their desires into the process, and they're going to try to hurry things forward because you've talked about pain. They understand now that you're seeking to solve that pain, and you're trying to figure out how soon they want that solved. And when they say a date or a length of time, now they are hoping that you can make that happen in that amount of time. And now when they put a date out there, oftentimes they'll say immediately. Well, why not get started immediately? Be ready for that. And now you've inserted that urgency into the conversation. It's going to get their excitement elevated about you as a company. They're going to start seeing you as the solution to those problems. And guess what? We haven't even gotten to the other questions yet. We haven't even done a walkthrough yet. The whole purpose of this is to help them feel. And already they're looking forward to the walkthrough because now it's all about how fast can we get in here to their facility and help them. And now this third topic that's going to make all the difference, we can approach with more confidence and more likely to get an answer for, it is around budget. Now, a lot of commercial cleaning business owners are afraid to ask for budget. And I have a whole other video on this channel dedicated to helping you get budget. But if you've done the proper setup by unpacking their pain and then getting some urgency infused into the situation and some excitement by going over the decision timeline, now whenever you ask for a budget, the way I'm going to show you, it's going to be more likely to be in your favor. So real quick, aside from that whole other video, here's a couple quick ways I like to ask it. What's your budget to solve this problem? And that makes sense, right? You've already talked about the problems. You talked about the timeline for implementing a solution. How fast do they want it? Okay, well, what's the budget to actually do this? And you're going to learn two primary things from that. First, you might get an answer, which would be fantastic if they give that to you. And oftentimes they will if they're in enough pain. And you're also going to see how reasonable or unreasonable they are and how unreasonable or reasonable their expectations are. And depending on what kind of pushback they give you, here's two other things you can either follow up with or even start with. The first one is you can ask, how flexible is your budget to get this fixed? And then I like to follow up with this second one, which is I want to be sure that we put something together that really helps you here. Now, again, there's some play and give in this that you can adjust to the situation and your personal approach. But now is the time to ask that question when they are feeling the pain and the excitement about using your company. Now, these last four questions are less important as far as what order they come in. Now, you could do that whole 3-segment question approach with the pain, decision timeline, and the budget at any point, but I would keep those together in that order wherever you decide to insert them in the conversation. I personally like to start off the meeting with it. But here's the fourth topic you want to cover, and this is something that a lot of commercial cleaning business owners forget, and that is holidays and closings. If you miss asking about this, you're setting yourself up for loss and for some pain. And that's because when holidays do come around, and if this topic hasn't been talked about, then they're going to be asking you for money back for any days, or they're going to be asking for a different amount to their invoice because of holiday closures. But if you talk about this right now and set the expectations around, this is how many days are going to be closed, these are the holidays that they honor, you're covering your bases, and then your quote price can roll all of that into it, and you don't have to make any pricing adjustments along the way. So simply ask, how many days per year is your facility closed? Under what circumstances does your facility close that wouldn't be on those scheduled dates? Or what holidays does your facility honor? Something that we will also do here is explain that yes, maybe we're not going to be able to do a full cleaning, or there's no need for a full cleaning on the holidays, but we use that time to take care of other tasks. Or you can do like I said before and just say the quote includes those days off. So do not forget to get their holidays and closings. Set yourself up for smooth holidays starting now. And the reason I like to ask about holidays here right around the budgeting question is because it can affect the budget. But again, insert it where you want into the conversation. The next question that we like to cover is around the general scope. Now that we know about their pain, decision timeline, budget, and things like that, and even holidays, it's nice to get an idea of what their specific expectations are, what's currently been going on in their facility. And you can also, if you're familiar with doing commercial cleaning walkthroughs and you've got a bunch of clients already, you can look at a scope of service and think to yourself, that is either a great deal for us at that current budget, or there is no way that this scope is being done properly at this current budget. And this is where you can unpack that a little bit and ask, what kind of changes would you like to see to this scope? Because obviously they're paying for it. There's something too with this. It could be that they're properly paying for that existing scope and they're unhappy, and the other company might be a good company, but the scope just isn't doing it. It's not enough. Maybe that company is following the instructions, but the company that's paying for that scope isn't willing to pay more for what they really need. So be sure to ask questions around the scope, to use it as a guideline, to get used to their facility. You don't want them to think that you don't know what you're doing and that's why you need the scope. What you're really doing is trying to pinpoint areas of the issues they expressed and find out maybe some root causes for those. But let's be honest, it is nice if they do have a scope that we can use. Next, we like to spend some time discussing supplies. And what we mean by supplies is really consumables. These are the products that are used up by the client in their facility, not the stuff that's used during the cleaning itself. This is stuff like toilet paper, can liners, paper towels, hand soap, things like that, that because of the facility's use of its own space from occupants, from visitors, from patients, whoever it is, It's getting used up. So at this point in the conversation, we need to know who pays for those. Do we pay for those? Do they pay for those? Do we pay for it and then invoice them? How often does that happen? How do orders take place? Which types of consumables do we refill? And if there are more consumables that need ordered, what's the ordering process? Because just so you know, by default in my company, we typically don't pay for the consumables, but we will order them on behalf of our clients. And this next one right here causes so many problems if we do not cover it. And it's so easy to forget. And this set of questions revolves around trash removal. So here are 3 essential questions that you need to absolutely be sure that you cover and get the answers for with their trash removal. Number 1, are there any specific waste bins that you should not empty? This is where they should explain about their recycling procedure, any compost, any shred bins. How are you notified of those? Are they marked differently? Are they in specific places? Because due to privacy laws and all kinds of other regulations, if you throw away the wrong waste into a regular trash can, then that's going to be a major problem. The second question that you need to ask is, where are the approved dumpsters? So early on in our company, we won this medical office. We were excited about it. They were excited. And then we started service. But at the end of service, we couldn't find a dumpster. And it's at that moment that we found out that the previous company had been hauling the trash to a dump somewhere else. This is information that would have been great to know before agreeing to a contract and moving forward with service. But because we were earlier on in our business, we bit the bullet. It's a profitable account. We still have it today, but it's a little bit more inconvenient than we'd anticipated. And that leads to this second question. It's somewhat related, but it's more for if there is a dumpster on site. In the vast majority of scenarios, there should be. But what should you do if the dumpster is full? We've done many walkthroughs where one of the major complaints is that the current cleaning company does not handle the trash correctly, that the dumpster has bags sitting all around it or it's piled too high and the lid won't close, and therefore the trash company that comes to empty the dumpster doesn't do it because the trash company has a whole policy in place about anything sitting around. If they see that, they're not even going to touch the dumpster. If it's too full, they're not even going to touch the dumpster. So you need to help prevent that situation from happening ever for your facilities. But you also want it to be the client's responsibility to pay properly for their dumpster management. And if they need to increase the frequency because of the amount of trash their facility generates, you want it to be in their court as much as possible. So if the dumpster is too full, Mr. or Mrs. Client, what do we do with the waste? Now they are responsible for whatever comes out of their mouth next and whatever you instruct your team to do. So if they do say, just set your trash on the ground behind this certain corner of the building, that's what you're going to do. And it's going to be okay because the customer asked for it. Something that we do though is we do have a dumpster at our office, and it's like an emergency dumpster for us, right? We can just take the trash there if we ever need to, if there's ever one that's overflowing. So if you have the ability to show that kindness and to show a little bit of extra level of service for your clients, that goes a long way. But you also want to protect yourself from any scenarios where you can't do that and you have to put the waste somewhere. And before this last one, I actually have all these questions in a checklist for you. And it's actually one where you can type into it, you can bring it with you, you can print off multiple sheets. It's got a whole section where you can put in the details of the facility, square footage, floor types, all the fixtures you need to count in order to do an accurate quote for that facility. I call it the winning walkthrough checklist, and I actually made it for you. Thanks so much for watching. You can go down in the description or in the pinned comment and grab your copy. That way you don't got to come back and keep watching this video. You can just grab what you need and immediately have it there at the appointment. Okay, this last topic is around facility access. The questions that we want to ask here, we need to get extremely clear answers to. Things such as parking, especially if you're in a city. Things such as alarms. How do we handle that? What happens if the alarm goes off? Who should be called? Things like keys. How many key copies are we allowed? Are we allowed to put a lockbox on site anywhere? What's the procedure if there's any codes? How's that code able to be shared? Or there's a lot of new digital stuff going on nowadays. We have a client where you pull up a link in an app and you click the link and it unlocks the door. So what are all the parameters around the security and the facility access? Because it can make a difference. If you're in a city, and we have some areas like this here in Asheville, which is not a big city, where our team has to park in a parking garage and pay for it. That is the kind of thing that you need to know before you submit a quote. And you know, this is just a part of doing walkthroughs correctly. I actually made another video, which you can get right here, you can go watch right here, that is about the complete process for doing walkthroughs successfully for a facility so that you're setting yourself up to win them as a client. Thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe if you found this video helpful. My name is Matt, your 7-figure commercial cleaning CEO. And until next time, keep building.